Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Lord Krishna, the embodiment of bliss, who came to establish dharma and punish the wicked. Let us pray to him to lead us from unreal to real, to lead us from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We are studying chapter 5 of the Bhagavad Gita, the Yoga of Renunciation. One can practice any yoga, but in order to get success in the spiritual path, one definitely prepare oneself thoroughly. Without proper preparations, it is rather too difficult to get success. Well, Sri Krishna tells us very emphatically, why are we groping in the darkness? Here is the knowledge. Lord Krishna himself gives the lamp of knowledge to us through Bhagavad Gita. He is telling very clearly, I am the Lord of the universe. I manifest everywhere. Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Sri Krishna says. What more clear statement we want? And through his life, Lord Krishna has exhibited that he was none other than the Supreme Lord of the universe. When he gave the cosmic vision to Arjuna, Arjuna was taken aback. Till then, he thought Sri Krishna only as a friend, but now his vision was opened up. Lord Krishna is the divine Lord of the whole creation, and is impressing upon Arjuna that all the things are being operated upon by his supreme will. That is, by the supreme will of God, things are going on. Who are you to think that you are the doer? Be humble. Be humble in the attitude that you are just an instrument in the hands of the divine. Nimitta matram. Have that attitude and carry on your duties. In another place, Sri Krishna says, Sarveshu kareshu ma manuspara yudhyacha. The meaning is, all the time remember me and do thy duty. Here Arjuna's duty was to fight the battle. So we are all having some duties to perform in life. We have to do it. But the duty consciousness, what is the utility of the performing duty, that one should know properly. First of all, we must have clear conception of the duty, And then we have to perform the duty with great zeal, but always followed by great devotion and dedication. Then only duty purifies your heart thoroughly and leads you towards the divine. Not only leading, it leads you towards fulfillment. So, in verse number 26, Lord Krishna says that who is the one who enjoys the bliss of Brahman here on the earth while living in this mortal body and also after the death. That means he becomes a knower of the secret of birth and death. There is nothing more to be known. So he gets complete fulfillment in the realization of the Divine Supreme by whom the whole creation has become manifested. So here Sri Krishna explains what are the qualities of the person who gets fulfillment in life. What are the highlights of such a person? Sri Krishna says, Kama Krodha Viyuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. Everything crystal clear. Those who are free from lust and anger, who have subdued their minds and who have known the self, that is Atman, those men of renunciation attain Brahman, liberation or bliss or Brahman, liberation of bliss of Brahman both here and hereafter. That is, while living in this body or after the death of the body. Once the realization comes, it is over for that individual being struggling through spiritual life. So here, Kama Krodha Yuktanam, one should be free from Kama and Krodha. Here Kama means desires for pleasures. Desires for pleasures. And second one, anger. These two are the main obstacles in our spiritual journey. They destroy all the virtues of us and virtually they throw us into the ditch, completely bruised all over the body. You become a wreck, bodily, mentally, intellectually, in every respect. You become vegetable. So, one should be free from these most dangerous enemies. And that means how you must be very careful not entertaining this impulse of enjoying the pleasures. And even the small trace of the desire in the mind creates havoc. We have seen previously in our studies how that Saubhara Muni, who was meditating deeply under the water, enjoying the bliss of the Atman, that sage, even in that advanced stage, how he was distracted by the subtlest impulse in the corner of his mind to enjoy. Just by seeing the enjoyment of the fish in the water, that provoked him. Provoked him to such an extent he could not sit for meditation anymore. He got up suddenly. He wanted to satisfy himself, the desire for pleasure. You know that story, how he went and he married all the daughters of the king, etc. But finally he got disgusted and renounces everything again and starts from the scratch again. Mind had fallen down to the bottom, again he has to raise it up. Same way, in the story of Ramayana we see how Ravan, how he ruined all his wonderful good qualities in him. He had tremendous good qualities, but all were destroyed because of his lustful attitude. He abducted Sita, and because of egoism, all the troubles started. And finally, he destroyed himself. So that is the worst effect of the karma. So one has to be really careful. Even if a man is practicing spirituality and declared as most advanced, even then he should be very careful. It is said in our sacred scriptures, he should be careful till the last breath of his life. Last breath of his life he should be careful. To that extent they go. Anyway, that's the way it is. And we have seen also in the Bhagavad Gita how Lord Krishna has warned. It's a direct warning. Dhyayato vishyan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho vijayante krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibrama smriti dhamshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. He has clearly warned us trying to go in spiritual path to be very careful about these dangerous desires for pleasures and anger. It ruins the person totally. So, this verse therefore, verse number 26 points out in the beginning, Kama Krodha Vyuktana. The person who has to have fulfillment in spiritual life should be 100% free from desire for pleasures and free from anger. No compromise there. So, where is liberation? Who would be able to attain it? These questions are being answered in this verse. There are 3 points are highlighted. One is Kamakrodha Yuktana, to be free from lust and anger. Second is to have control over the mind. Thirdly, knowledge of the Atma. So one should be well established in these qualities. Then he will get that maximum bliss of the Atman, by experiencing which he has nothing more to experience. It is a final experience. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. One who knows Brahman becomes Brahman himself. So those who have all these qualities mentioned always enjoy the freedom from bondage, and they are always blissful. If you see Sri Ramakrishna, always blissful, cheerful, like a baby he was. On the first sight itself, people would be drawn towards him. With the knowledge of Atman, by concentrating, by contemplating, by thoroughly studying the nature of Atman, seriously and sincerely, with the impulses of lust, anger, etc. are destroyed. Jnanagni, Dagda Karmana. Jnanagni, the fire of knowledge, it has got tremendous power of burning. So, with the knowledge of the Atman, the impulses of lust, anger are destroyed. The annihilation of mind takes place by itself. When the individual being gets this experience of the Supreme Paramatman, is totally overwhelmed, then mind gets dissolved. It is a mind that makes person come back and forth to this world. Mind again is your storehouse of carrying impressions in your life. So, annihilation of the mind takes place. The word yatinam implies that liberation is attainable only for those who make efforts, not for the idols. Sant Tulsidas has said, Sab vastu jagmai, alasi koi nahi pai. Beautiful. Though the world has all the things, but the idols, nothing is there. The words of wisdom say, that is one of the Subhashitas, Udyoginam Purusha Simha Upaiti Lakshmi. Lakshmi is favorable to those who make efforts. That Lakshmi may be Dhana Lakshmi, wealth, or Raja Lakshmi, kingdom, or Moksha Lakshmi, liberation. There are different aspects of Lakshmi. So one should have firm faith in God, which is absolutely necessary in spiritual path. If he is an agnostic, if he thinks he is too intelligent and too rationalistic, you will receive kicks and blows in your life, then all his rationality will come to test. Well, faith in God has to be built up. Faith in God comes only when you struggle maintaining morality. You must follow the moral values and ethical values. That makes your system stable. That makes your faith in God stable. So, one should have firm faith in God, then in the Guru, and in the sacred scriptures. Having all this faith, now one should act upon. Action part, very important. Action part is effort. If you don't do effort, you simply know the things and keep again. Pandit. He has got all the knowledge of the scriptures, but no experience. Experience comes only through doing efforts. Of the three practices, Parityaga is the first one. How the relinquishing of pleasures, anger, etc. is accomplished. It's easy to say, but one has to struggle. By constantly contemplating about Atman, about the indwelling spirit, about not diverting the mind towards other things, consciously, seriously focusing on the Atman dwelling in our heart, by firmly established about the false nature of external things, the bad propensities of anger, etc., get vanquished by themselves. You don't have to think of them. They go out by themselves. The abode of anger, etc., is in the mind. Anger, etc., are the modifications. One is able to see inside the mind and its modifications of anger, etc. He will not be deluded or bothered about them, and thus anger, etc. vanish by themselves from such a person. If he is watching over his inner functioning of the mind becomes aware that his master is watching him, so he keeps like obedient one. He doesn't do mischief. The moment you are not watchful, then it plays mischief. That is, you have to be careful about every movement of the mind. One way of doing is fix the mind on the divine, think of the Atman constantly. The same subject is discussed in Adhyatma Ramayana. Naham kama name kama iti kamo vijayate. Since this kama, the desires, the pleasurable objects, they are all seeable to me, but I am not that. So one has to apply Viveka, proper, right way of discrimination. One can really overcome desire for pleasures. If you see that certain thing is poison, you avoid to take it. Same way, desires for pleasures are compared to poison. It poisons your spiritual aptitude, and finally it ruins the person. The next spiritual effort is to keep mind under control. In order to control mind, what should be done? It should be free from Rajogun and Tamogun and be established in Sattvagun, a state of tranquility, calmness, steadiness, firmness. All these come under sattvic qualities. So one should be able to stay in that sattvic state, not become too much hyperactive, nor too idle, sleeping all the time. Both are extremely bad. You should get rid of those qualities and be established in Sattvagun. That is, feeling joy in studying the glories of the divine, in contemplating the spiritual ideas, and so on. It is said the iron rod cannot be bent as long as it is quite hard. It's too difficult to bend. But when that same rod becomes soft, being heated in fire, it is bendable. You can bend it easily. Likewise, the mind is freed from sins through the fire of knowledge, and then it can be easily kept under control. So first you must apply fire of knowledge, otherwise you can't control the mind, like thick iron rod. For the wheel of samsara, mind is the navel. On the movement of mind, the world also moves. If the mind is terrific, the world also looks alike. So the perception of the world depends upon the state of mind. In order to conquer mind, the best solution is to realize Atman, the substratum of mind. As Lord Krishna says, Evam buddhehe param buddhva, knowing definitely that he is Atman, beyond intellect, the body-mind system become easily controllable. Now the third quality, the spiritual effort, is realization of Atman, Brahma Nirvana. Through Guru's instructions and guidance, one should become aware of the nature of Atman by constantly contemplating on the teachings and instructions given by the Guru, who is leading us in spiritual path. In that process, what will happen? Doubts get cleared from the mind. And the aspirant realizes that he is not the body, senses, mind and the intellect, but he is the witness. People used to come and sit in front of Ramana Maharshi, the great saint of South India, Arunachal's saint. Before coming, they would have lots of doubts in the mind. So they want to ask they want to clear their mind out of free of doubts. They would come with lot of stress and strain and tensions, all such things. They would come and sit in front of the Ramana Maharshi. But Ramana Maharshi would not talk. He was silent, but calm and cheerful. By his look at the person, he would burn all the evil propensities of the person in front of him. And he would know what is bothering him. Without his asking question, he would solve the problem. That was Ramana Maharshi. After returning back, seeing Ramana Maharshi, they would be wondering, how is it? I went to ask questions. All my questions have gone away. I feel the questions didn't exist at all. Let's see. Beauty of the person who is well established in Atman. So, by constantly focusing on the spiritual ideas, one realizes that he is not destroyed by the body made of 5 elements. So, all seeable are subject to changes, and he is the one perceiving these, but himself not changed. He is a perceiver. Drik Drishya is a text, Vedantic text, Drik Drishya Viveka. Please read that if you have not read. That means seeable objects are different, the person who sees is different, subject-object. Thus, the one who practices these discussed spiritual ways becomes fulfilled, then for such a person liberation comes. He realizes that he is the embodiment of liberation, Brahman himself. So, the location of liberation is himself only. You don't have to go to Vaikuntha, Kailasa, regions in the upper world. It is in our heart. Krishna himself has said that also. I dwell in our heart. Ishwara sarvabhutanam vruddeshya tishtati. What more you want? But we don't believe. That's the point. So we are suffering. Be ready to suffer. If you don't believe, suffer. Like that it goes. You have to cultivate faith in God. You have to follow the instructions of the Guru. You must be very sincere in your spiritual efforts. I was even, many times I have told in the class, coming to ashrama itself is one of the discipline. Even coming once in a week also they feel too terrific. And they want realization, they want peace of mind, they want this, that. You won't get like that. You have to establish link to the place of worship, and not only that, have total identification. If you have total identification with Ramakrishna, you are overwhelmed and your mind will be feeling that I should go to the ashrama. Keep away everything. They won't go away. They will come and pounce on your neck. Come and offer your prayers and go. This place is meant for offering prayers, offering worship, for doing spiritual practices. This ashrama is meant for. So that way, identification. Meditating on Sri Ramakrishna means meditating on your own self. Because Sri Ramakrishna dwells in the heart. You will see him. If you are sincere and free from egoism, anger and desire for pleasures, then you are okay. One student used to come in Bangalore. While talking, he would say, Swami, in the midst of studies, I would feel a strong appetite to go to a restaurant. Particular restaurant would give a particular dish. It was so tasteful. Some that idea would come to my mind. I would stop studies and go away, satisfy the desire and come. See the fun? That means whatever we do repeatedly, it becomes a kind of addiction. So worldly life is a kind of addiction actually. Because how many lives we have passed through this kind of samsara? Again the same thing. Come, get married, get children, die, again take birth, again get married, enjoy, die. Take birth, enjoy, die. That's all, there's no other way. So you have built up that life in that fashion. So you have to break that. It is too hard. It requires Guru's grace, it requires personal effort, it requires tremendous faith. All these things are required. Sparshan kutva bahirbahyam chakshushtaivantre bhuvoho pranapano samam krutva nasat yantracharinam. Verse number 27. Shutting out all external contacts and fixing the gaze between the eyebrows, equalizing the outgoing and incoming breaths, moving within the nostrils. Yatendriya manobuddhir munir moksha parayanaha vigadecha bhekrodo yasram tvayeva saha. With the senses, the mind and the intellect always controlled, having liberation as a supreme goal, free from desire, fear and anger, the sage is verily liberated forever. Bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suvardham sarvabhutanam jnatva mam shantim richati. He who knows me as the enjoyer of sacrifices and austerities, the great Lord of all the worlds and the friend of all beings, attains to peace. This completes the chapter 5 of the Bhagavad Gita. To everyone who knows his Atman comes the benediction of the peace of the eternal, that is Brahma Nirvana. For this knowledge is wisdom. It drives out desire and passion. It makes a person subdued in nature and of subdued thoughts. The process of subdual is helped by pranayama, breath control. He who practices pranayama is asked to exclude external contacts, to fix his gaze between the eyebrows, and to make equal the outgoing and ingoing breaths, prana and apana, moving within nostrils. But the essential thing is to liberate the senses, mind and buddhi from the dominion of desires and to set free his nature from fear and passion. Above all, he must know Krishna as the assimilator of all yajna and tapas, sacrifice and austerity, and as the Lord of all the worlds and the lover of all the beings. He then, who knows the Atman and through the Atman masters the lower self of senses, mind and reason, he goes to peace. He is eternally blessed. The emphasis is again on the control of the senses, mind and the buddhi. He who without this control would try to treat the path is sure to fall. Without making preparations, if you go headlong, you won't get success. On the other hand, you will discontinue your spiritual journey. He may attempt to raise his consciousness into enlightenment by technical methods of yoga, by bringing his gaze between the two eyebrows. He may try to conform to rules of meditation by making equal the outgoing and incoming breaths within nostrils. He may follow the method of pranayama. He will find that all techniques without preliminary purification of the senses, the mind and the heart are a premature practice. What avails him if he goes through external exercises of yoga without having achieved inward purification? His premature practice of meditation will prove dangerous, will lead to neurotic states, to partition of personality, to dissociation of the mind, disturbing its integrity, perhaps ending in insanity itself. So he who would practice true meditation must first purify his senses, his mind and his heart. The true sage then sees the eternal Krishna, who is the one self of all, who is the great Lord of all the worlds, who is the lover of all beings, who is not merely a distant world ruler, but an ever-living friend and ever-loving helper, ready every moment to help us in overcoming sin, desire, fear and passion, if we would but trust him. For such a sage, all doors of wisdom stand open. Such a sage speedily attains peace, the peace of enlightenment, Brahma Nirvana. So, this completes the chapter, Yoga of Renunciation of Action. So let us focus on these points, that is, getting rid of Raga Dvesh and Kama Krodh and controlling the senses, not being idle, to do spiritual practice earnestly, and to establish oneself in a witness stand. Then it makes us easy to go in the spiritual path. In fact, if one practices spiritual exercises properly, even when doing that you feel joy. The power of discrimination increases and you will develop proper viveka and vairagya, by the help of which you will be able to move forward in spiritual path and will be realizing the Paramatma. So, that's the way it is. Finally it comes to the point that all the impulses which are obstacles in our spiritual path must mercilessly be removed from the mind by whatever means we do. All efforts should be made. All efforts. So like that we should make use of this human body, human mind, and through human body alone one can attain the supreme bliss of the Paramatma. So with these words I conclude my talk, which will continue next Tuesday. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Let us offer our salutations to Lord Krishna, the embodiment of bliss, who came to establish dharma and punch the wicked. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.